At the height of Minecraft HCF's popularity, Meezoid was one of the most well-known faces in the entire community. Amassing tens of millions of views and owning some of the most successful servers of all time, his name became known far beyond his own channel. But behind the curtain of his popularity and success, serious allegations about him began to circulate. These allegations were never publicly addressed or widely known, and multiple sources have claimed attempts were made to keep them from spreading. While this video was being produced, I also received a cease and desist letter from an attorney representing Meezoid, but I continued investigating anyway, and this is what I was told. Meezoid uploaded his first YouTube video on April 9th, 2016, and quickly became known for his high-energy PvP content on HCF.
Strike two, strike two, strike two, strike two!
As Meezoid continued uploading and growing his channel, he formed a tight-knit group of friends and fellow creators who he recorded with in countless videos. And when allegations against Meezoid first began to surface, some of these friends were accused of playing a role in keeping the allegations from spreading. I first heard about this late last year when I was told the former YouTuber Advisor had once been working on a video about Meezoid and his relationship with an e-girl named Blueberries. But according to individuals familiar with the situation at the time, Advisor faced pressure from Meezoid's friends not to release the video, leading to Advisor not only dropping the story, but leaving the Minecraft community altogether. Hearing about this immediately shocked me, because if you were in the Minecraft PvP community around 2017 to 2022, you would know the kind of videos Advisor posted. If you're unfamiliar, Advisor is a former Minecraft PvP YouTuber who became known for posting expose-style content about Minecraft YouTubers. Some of the YouTubers Advisor made videos on played on HCF servers that eventually died out, unlike the sponsor of today's video, Cave PvP, which has endured as the last remaining HCF server with an active player base, weekly maps, and thousands in PayPal payouts every month. Whether you grew up playing HCF or are new to it, Cave is the only place you can still experience this great game mode. Be sure to log on to Cave PvP for Start of the World every Saturday at 2 PM EST, and use /freeAlex to gain 1 week of Custom Plus rank. But coming back to the Advisor video, you can understand my shock when I heard that Advisor was even looking into a video about Meezoid, as I had never heard about any allegations against him myself. With this in mind, I began contacting various people connected to Meezoid to inquire about this alleged video. And it was immediately after this that things began to get really weird. When my investigation began, the first people I reached out to were 2 YouTubers, Ziggy and Lambo. Lambo is a close friend of Meezoid's who was described to me as someone very familiar with the situation. But when I reached out to Lambo to ask him if he knew anything about the alleged Advisor video, he just responded, no. And when I followed up, he claimed not to know anything about it. When I reached out to Ziggy, he responded, oh what was that about again? Wasn't that a long time ago? Now, as I continued digging deeper into this story, I found that both Lambo and Ziggy recorded with Blueberries themselves. Ziggy even used images of her in his thumbnails, and once Meezoid began uploading videos with Blueberries himself, a viewer commented saying Blueberries was, quote, Ziggy's e-girl, which Ziggy rejected, saying he was already taken. I later followed up with Ziggy, and he told me, quote, yeah, I used to be friends with her when we uploaded Minecraft back in the day. She was one of the people that helped set up the bases on Start of the World and was always online and down to record, so yeah, I recorded a few videos with her. That's also how Colby met her as well. As I continued investigating, I reached out to HCF Alert, a former HCF news YouTuber who gladly spoke to me for my last documentary about aspartame, even providing me a video of him swatting someone in a Discord call. When I told HCF Alert I was working on a new video, he told me he was really interested in hearing what it was about, and we planned to call the next evening. But when 5 PM came around the next day, HCF Alert went ghost on me for almost an hour before sending me a message asking if the video was about Meezoid. When I told him it could be, he messaged me saying if it's what I'm thinking of and the rumors that's been going around, then after you make this video, HCF is going to be completely dead and there will be no trust in the HCF community. As someone who grew up playing HCF, I can't contribute to that, even if it's for a good reason. After this, I never heard back from HCF Alert, and as I continued reaching out to others, a similar pattern began to emerge. You see, over the course of making this video, I reached out to 50 plus people, and 15 of them completely ignored me. All 15 of these people I know personally in some way. We've done business together, recorded together, or even stayed at Airbnbs together at conventions years ago. Now, some of these people were likely just staying loyal to Meezoid, but what I was later told is some of these people may have chosen not to respond because they were actively involved in efforts to keep these allegations from spreading. Before we get into the allegations against Meezoid and his response to them, I want to lay out why these allegations never saw the light of day until now. A few years ago, when rumors began circulating in the HCF community, multiple sources told me that efforts were made to keep them from spreading further. The main goals were allegedly to prevent the advisor video from ever being released and to suppress the story's spread within the HCF and broader PvP community, as around this time, references to blueberries began appearing in diss tracks relating to Meezoid.
Mosquito of the calm, you gotta stay sucking. Me and blueberries, we just
Diss tracks used to be common in the HCF community and were something creators would laugh at, but this diss track was different, and according to former Viper staff members, it led to every single person involved in it getting blacklisted on the server.
Immediately, the moment that video went up, that got him blacklisted. Both him and Laws and Headed were all blacklisted, and then they basically pulled GF9 and TeamSpeak and were like, hey, if you want to get on blacklist, you have to delete that. You have to unlist that video because like he didn't care about anything else in the video. Like all the other disses, the only thing he cared about was that he mentioned Blueberry in the video.
Another issue on Viper was a leaked picture of Meezoid and blueberries, which I'll show you in full momentarily, that was screenshotted from her Snapchat story. When people started posting this picture on Viper, they too were reportedly blacklisted.
I do remember seeing like Clout Digger logging in, which was, I mean, everyone knew on the staff team that Clout Digger was Meezoid's like account with perms on Viper. Clout Digger would log in and just blacklist anyone who's, you know, sent that picture. It was kind of just like a, you know, a silent rule that nobody spoke about the situation. You know, people would post that image in chat and just like the staff would just ban them for doxing. I guess the staff team just kind of caught on and was just like, yeah, we can't let this get out.
Another ex-Viper staff member who spoke on the condition of anonymity told me that was definitely a touchy subject, and a decent amount of players who said that were banned or blacklisted. No staff really talked about this stuff when we heard about it, as we were a little intimidated, as we felt we would get demoted for even talking about it. But when I came to Cave, I really heard a lot more about it. Sam Fay also echoed a similar story, telling me after he joined Cave, he began hearing more about the allegations, along with the alleged advisor video.
After I moved over to Cave, I found out that Advisor had messaged the owners of Cave, which was also, one of them was also Meezoid's old roommate. So Advisor had messaged them and he was like trying to like get information on this thing. Apparently he'd get people in call and just be like, right, I know everything, tell me everything, or you're gonna be involved in this mess as well. So Advisor was making this video already. Advisor found out about this whole situation, and then all of a sudden Advisor had just gone like ghost. Like no one really knew what happened to Advisor. Like, I mean, obviously there were like rumors going around that someone had like been threatening Advisor or something, because it just completely went dark all of a sudden. Then Advisor just quits everything and hasn't been seen since.
When I contacted Advisor myself, he declined to comment on the record and made it clear he wanted no involvement in this video. But multiple people familiar with the situation at the time described Advisor as being harassed and pressured by Meezoid's friends to stop his investigation. When I reached out to two of Meezoid's former roommates, Cameron and Gumbo, and they didn't respond, I originally figured they were just unwilling to speak poorly of their longtime friend. But what I was later told was that Cameron and Gumbo were allegedly involved in pressuring Advisor not to post his video. And after multiple attempts to verify these claims directly with them, my messages went unanswered and I was unable to do so. Another reason Cameron and Gumbo may not have responded is they may have been too busy trying to swap crypto on centralized exchanges with slow and tedious KYC checks when they could have been using swap.my and swapping their crypto in seconds with no ID, no account, and no hassles. Owned by 9 middlemen and vouched by thousands on OG users, swap.my is the best place to swap crypto fast and easy. But anyways, what exactly were these allegations, and how does Meezoid explain them today? Well, I asked him, and this is what he had to say. Let's venture way back to 2019, when Meezoid was a popular Minecraft YouTuber with tens of thousands of dedicated fans. One of these fans is a 13-year-old girl from Florida, known online as Blueberries. Over time, the two would begin interacting and playing Minecraft together, sometimes for hours on end.
Dude, Summer! Summer. Strike 2, Summer. Summer, you got it. Summer, you wanna do it? Summer. We have Summer outside. Get in that, Summer.
Meezoid posted at least 23 videos with Blueberries on his channel, which at the time wouldn't have seemed like anything out of the ordinary, as content like this was very common. But off camera, Meezoid and Blueberries would develop a friendship that went beyond just playing Minecraft. In Meezoid's response to the allegations, which we'll dive into thoroughly in a moment, he acknowledges Summer was a close friend, saying he vented to her during a rough period of his life. Meezoid strongly maintains that this type of platonic friendship is all their relationship has ever been, and that nothing inappropriate has ever occurred between them. But according to Toxic Jolt, a former close friend of Summer and Summer's best friend Brianna, he was told that as the relationship between Summer and Meezoid developed, the two reportedly began dating, and Meezoid would allegedly ask her for nudes, allegations Meezoid strongly denies. Eventually, the relationship wouldn't be confined to online interactions, and the two would meet in person. While hanging out together in Florida, they took a photo together in a bathroom, which was posted on Blue's Snapchat story and later screenshotted. This image began to circulate, and for many people, it raised serious questions about the nature of their relationship, given that when the photo was taken, Meezoid was 19 or 20, while Blueberries was 14 or 15. Shortly after this trip, Meezoid decided to move to Florida, and at the time, he told his roommates he was doing so in order to be closer to a girlfriend. Before this move, Meezoid allegedly would make multiple trips to Florida in order to see Blueberries, with one of his former roommates saying Meezoid was almost never home because he was always in Florida visiting Blue.
Yeah, so from what I heard, he was always like visiting Florida. He was never actually home in LA. Like a lot of the time, he'd always be going to Florida. A lot of his friends would say it's just to visit like Blueberries, obviously. Which I mean, yeah. What else has he got to do in Florida?
After Meezoid moved to Florida, some individuals I spoke with alleged Blueberries moved in with him, raising the question of where her parents were.
She was like 15 when they met, like maybe 14 when they went, 15 when they moved in together. But like that's also like she has to have parents. Like there's no way she didn't have parents to make decisions, like tell her like no, you shouldn't do that.
Before this move ever happened, Blue's parents were allegedly warned directly by one of her friends, Toxic Jolt, about their daughter's relationship with Meezoid. Toxic Jolt told me, as Summer grew closer to Meezoid, our friendship began to fade. We wouldn't talk as much because Summer was always playing with Meezoid and Ziggy, and eventually we stopped talking altogether. Sometime after their friendship faded, Toxic Jolt allegedly received an email from Blue's mom, informing him that Blue had become sad over their lost friendship. I received an email from Summer's mom out of the blue informing me that Summer had become sad over our lost friendship. I replied, explaining why our friendship faded over time because of Meezoid. I told Summer's mom that Meezoid had been asking her for nudes and that he was much older than her. Her mom never acknowledged my comments about Meezoid, only replying by saying she thought Summer and I would reconnect in the future. After this, we really didn't keep in touch. In Meezoid's response to the allegations, he encouraged me to reach out to both Blueberries herself and her family. But when I contacted Blue's father to see if he'd be open to speaking with me, he declined to comment, telling me I should be ashamed of myself for pursuing the story, and warned that if I published anything he considered defamatory about his daughter, I would be hearing from his attorney. While Blue's father declined to speak with me, Meezoid shared his perspective in a much more in-depth response, telling me, quote, around 3 or 4 years ago, I heard Advisor was reaching out to others about this situation, in which I messaged him as soon as I heard to clear it up. That was the end of that for me, and nothing ever happened beyond that. Meezoid then went on to say that after moving into the Pyronic house in LA, he was truly miserable. The environment at the house unfortunately turned into one of the worst experiences of my life. There were parties and random people at the house until 3 to 4 a.m. almost every day. One of them even using my hairbrush to literally line cocaine in my bathroom. I couldn't get any sleep. I couldn't get my work done. I felt alone and judged due to how I focused on my own work. 2 roommates lied to me for months to make a competing business against my own server, and so much more. Meezoid claims that during this time, he would vent to Blueberries about his living situation, and at some point, she told her family about my situation. Her dad is familiar with the Minecraft community. He also works in real estate. There was eventually a point in time where we spoke directly about what I was dealing with, and as a gesture of kindness, he offered to fly me out to where they live to show me rental properties. I wasn't so sure at first, but as things continued to worsen, I thought about it and I realized it would actually be possible to live on my own. I took his offer and met them in late 2020. It was during this trip that Meezoid claims the selfie of him and Blueberries was taken, which he says was quickly screenshotted by others and reposted with a caption to imply that I was in an inappropriate relationship with her. The picture made its way around the community with that caption and ultimately was the start of the rumor. When she asked for a picture, it did not concern me as something to worry about because I knew we were simply friends, but when she posted it, I think her intention was to brag or flex in a way, and of course, people made their assumptions. After the trip, Meezoid decided to move to Florida and acknowledged telling his roommates at the time the reason was to be closer to a girlfriend, but says he only told them this because it was easier to explain comparatively to what he says was the real reason, him being unhappy living there. He goes on to say that he never addressed these allegations publicly because I was extremely concerned with doxing and privacy of where I lived. If I explained the picture in detail, it would compromise that. This was my first time living alone, and I was fearful due to what I've already dealt with: swatting, people coming to my house, threats under my name, etc. Over time, it was just a rumor that some people would occasionally mention, but both myself and her knew the truth and never had to compromise my privacy and safety in order to address it. I've absolutely hated hearing these things said about me over the years. I have fully quit and moved on from the Minecraft community, but hearing stories about how people have been robbed by previous Minecraft HCF players at this point, it continues to heighten my concern to privacy. On top of this, one player literally leaked my social security number towards the end of my time on MC, and a group of players were discussing publicly to come to my house. Now, whether any of this meaningfully relates to the allegations themselves, I'll leave for you to decide, but the concerns Meezoid expresses here about doxing and privacy were not entirely unfounded. A few years ago, both Meezoid and Blueberry's doxes were posted on Doxbin before later being removed from the site. Interestingly enough, the individual responsible for removing the doxes was the subject of my last documentary, aspartame. Meezoid ended his message by saying this rumor has developed with various forms of misinformation and untruthful facts over time, and encouraged me to reach out to Blueberries directly if I wished, which we'll get into shortly. For full transparency, here is Meezoid's complete, unedited response. You can pause and read if you'd like. When I followed up with some additional questions, Meezoid acknowledged only 2 of them, saying nothing inappropriate had ever happened between him and Blueberries and that he didn't know what I was referring to regarding Advisor. After this, Meezoid began to get frustrated, saying any words feeding off of rumors or assumptions from others who have any sort of jealousy or hatred towards me or simply general carelessness means nothing to the truth. I have been nothing but respectful to you, but you will be hearing from my lawyers if or when you choose to slander and defame my name. I promise you that. 2 weeks later, I received a cease and desist letter from an attorney representing Meezoid, chastising me for attempting to speak with people about what they say are false, heinous, and harmful allegations, writing in bold lettering that I must immediately cease and desist the production of the video you're currently watching. But the legal threats I received didn't stop there. After I reached out to Blueberries directly, I received a legal threat from her as well. Blueberries told me she wanted nothing to do with this video and claimed there was nothing more than a friendship between her and Meezoid, going on to say she lied to everyone in the community about her age and claimed I was chasing a false story that could get me in major trouble. Now, given what Blueberries has said here, you may be wondering how her relationship with Meezoid stands today. Well, in a recent conversation with Toxic Joel, Blueberries confirmed that she and Meezoid still have an ongoing connection, describing him as a quote, friend of the family. Blueberries said this to Toxic Joel, who decided to reach out to her himself with some questions after hearing I was working on this video. During this conversation, which took place on Snapchat, Blue can be seen repeatedly half swiping into the chat, sometimes taking over 10 minutes to respond after half swiping, leading Toxic Joel to believe that Meezoid may have been coaching her on what to say. When Toxic asked why Summer's longtime best friend, Brianna, would tell him she and Meezoid were dating, Blue responded by throwing Brianna under the bus, claiming she, quote, talks out of her ass. Toxic also asked about the bathroom picture of her and Meezoid, to which she responded by saying she, quote, literally told him to do that. Immediately after, she told Toxic she was done having this conversation and blocked him. I reached out to Brianna myself on 2 occasions to see if she'd be open to speaking with me, but I didn't receive a response to either message. While I wasn't able to speak to Brianna, I did speak to another old friend of Blueberries who, on the condition of anonymity, shared what she remembers from the time.
She was always trying to flirt with him and hang out with him, and she was just super fangirly about the whole thing because, Meezoid was a YouTuber and she liked him. So she did mention how she was lying to Meezoid about her age because she thought he wouldn't like her if he knew how young she really was. I don't know if they were officially dating. They definitely were a thing. They would always be with each other, talking to each other, playing games. And this was when Blue drifted from her friends and the friend group. It was I want to say April, May of 2019, that time frame.
During this time, Meezoid was in his last year of high school, graduating in June of 2019, while Blueberries, on the other hand, was still in middle school, not graduating herself until 2023. Another person I spoke with is Meezoid's ex-girlfriend, Rodine. Rodine told me that Meezoid was always nice to her and that she didn't think he would get with someone much younger than him. Very interestingly, Rodine sent me a message saying, isn't he engaged to that girl now? And when I followed up about this, Rodine said, no, I don't know if they are. I haven't seen or heard of him in years. This was kind of a crazy curveball because if you hadn't seen or heard of him in years, where did the idea that he was engaged come from? To be clear, I didn't hear about Meezoid being engaged from anyone else I've talked to, and as I've already noted, Meezoid denies all allegations of there being anything more than a platonic friendship between him and Blueberries. The claims discussed in this video come from third-party sources and are presented as allegations, not as established facts. As with any situation like this, I encourage you to review all information and draw your own conclusions. Let me know what you think in the comments, and thank you so much for watching.